Picture this. After years of hard, record-setting work as a college wide receiver, you achieve your dream of being a first-round NFL draft pick. But when you report to training camp, something with your vision is off. You spend your first preseason dropping routine passes and slipping down the depth chart. Your dream is quickly becoming a nightmare. I'm Steven Jackson, and in this episode of Legends, we look back at the storied career of the Detroit Lions legend, Herman Moore. A simple vision test turned a first-round potential bust into one of the NFL greats, and should be Hall of Famer. Herman Joseph Moore was born October 20th, 1969 in Danville, Virginia. Funny enough, even though he was a phenomenal athlete, Herman wasn't known for being a football player. In his final high school football game, Herman intercepted a Hail Mary to seal the win. That Hail Mary was thrown by the son of an assistant coach at the University of Virginia. By the time the following fall would roll around, Herman would put in the extra work he needed to meet Virginia's academic standards, and he was headed to Charlottesville to play football as a Cavalier. He first got on the field as a redshirt freshman wide receiver in 1988, but it was during his redshirt sophomore season as Herman Moore really would break out. He formed the Moore-to-Moore connection with quarterback Sean Moore, catching 36 passes for 848 yards and 10 touchdowns. Herman returned for his junior season, looking to leave his mark on college football. He did that, and then some. Virginia opened the season by winning their first 7 games, rising to become #1 team in the nation. Heisman hype for both Herman and Sean Moore began to surge. It reached its peak in early November with the top-ranked Cavaliers and the undefeated Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. The game was a shootout, and Herman hauled in 9 passes for a career-high 234 yards, still the most ever by a junior at Virginia. But Georgia Tech field goal with 7 seconds left gave the Yellow Jackets a win and knocked Virginia from the ranks of the unbeaten. Still, Herman was named the consensus All-American, finished 6th in the Heisman Trophy voting, and received 6 first-place votes. Herman finished his junior year with 54 catches, 1,190 yards, and a UVA record 13 touchdown catches. Following that tremendous season, Herman made the difficult decision to leave school for the NFL. He finished his college career with 114 catches, for a thin school record 2,504 yards and 27 touchdowns. He also averaged an incredible 22 yards per catch, which still is an NCAA record for receivers with at least 105 career catches. The 1991 NFL Draft was loaded with defensive talent. In fact, the first skill player wasn't taken off the board until the 10th pick overall, which would be Herman Moore and the Detroit Lions. For Detroit, the reasoning was simple. In 1989, they had taken a running back by the name of Barry Sanders with the 3rd overall pick. In 1990, Detroit had taken the reigning Heisman winner, quarterback Andre Ware, with the 7th overall pick. To the Lions, Herman was the missing piece of an offense on the rise. At least that's what they thought before the start of training camp of 1991. After a prolific college career, Herman suddenly couldn't track or catch the football. He dropped 4 passes in the preseason, many others in training camp and practice, and slipped down the depth chart as a result. Out of desperation, the Lions sent him to an eye doctor. Tests revealed without glasses or contact lenses, Herman was playing football nearly blind. He was prescribed contacts. Everything changed, both for Herman and the Lions, who reached the playoffs for the first time in nearly a decade. In the divisional round against the Dallas Cowboys, he caught 6 passes for 87 yards and his first NFL touchdown. Detroit won 38-6 and headed to their first NFC Championship game. While the Lions lost to the eventual Super Bowl champions, Washington, Herman had 4 more catches for 69 yards in the game. From that point forward, Detroit would never go as deep in the playoffs. But nothing, not even having 12 different starting quarterbacks during his 11 NFL seasons, would stop Herman Moore from having a phenomenal career. Entering the final week of the 1995 season, Herman, Jerry Rice, and Cris Carter were threatening Carter's all-time single-season reception record of 122, set a year earlier. Herman went into the final week of that season with 113 catches. Carter, he would enter that week with 115. Rice, he was sitting at 110. On December 23, 1994, Herman grabbed 10 passes against Tampa Bay to break Carter's record. His 123 reception season stood for 7 years until Marvin Harrison broke it in 2002. Herman and Detroit's Brett Pierman also became the first teammates ever to both catch 100 passes in a single season that year. Herman was named as a first-team All-Pro for the first time of 3 straight seasons and finished 4th in AP Offensive Player of the Year, voting behind Brett Favre, Emmitt Smith, Rice, and his teammate Barry Sanders. He broke the 100-catch barrier again with 106 in 1996. Then in 1997, Herman once again led the league with 104 receptions. He continued to produce during the 1998 season, and in the second to last game of the year, he became the quickest player in NFL history to reach 600 career receptions, accomplishing the feat in just 116 games. That marked the final full season of his prolific career. Herman Moore played 3 more seasons with the Lions, but injuries limited his impact and production. After giving it one more shot with the Giants in 2002, Herman Moore retired with 670 catches and 9,174 receiving yards. At that time, both ranked him inside the top 20 in NFL history. But perhaps the greatest measure of Herman Moore's impact on the game of football is this. During a 5-year period from 1994 to 1998, when Hall of Fame wide receivers like Jerry Rice, Michael Irvin, Tim Brown, Cris Carter, and Andre Reed were the stars of the league, only one, Cris Carter, had more catches than Moore's 487. Not a single one had more receiving yards than Herman Moore's 6,431. Quite a feat for a guy entering the NFL struggling to see. Herman Moore, an all-time great, should be a Hall of Famer, but without a doubt, a legend.